Hello and welcome to the Serenity Gaming Wintersplit Week 7 match. Today it is Serenity Gaming Topaz versus Hillerød Esports. I am Milo and I'll be the host of your pre-show, and I'm joined by the two lovely casters, Kashgar and Karim.
Hello everyone, yes, as Milo said, I'm Kachka. There's also that guy called Karim, but yeah, we've got quite a match on the hands. Topaz versus Hillerød. It was originally meant to be played in week 2, got rescheduled during today, but that just makes it all the better with all the matches we've seen from these teams. I'm pretty sure we're going to see some good League of Legends being played today.
It really does make it all that more climactic, given that we've seen a lot of history between these two teams. There is some, personal rivalries. There is that, that little side tangent where Hillerød kind of beat Topaz in CSD. So today, it's going to be really interesting, just because we'll have to see if Topaz can bring out their A game today, if they're ready for the remainder of the Wintersplit, and also some other leagues that we'll hopefully mention later on.
I'm so glad you bring up that rivalry. So, yeah, let's talk a little about it. So, you said it, Hillerød beat Topaz into CSD. Wasn't the most convincing matches, but they did end up being in 2-0. Are we going to see the same thing today, Kashgar?
I don't know. That match was actually quite a long time back, and Hillerød did look like a better team in the end, but time has passed, and I am pretty sure both of these teams have improved. But what I will say though is that, in my opinion, the first match will be a good indicator of how the rest of the series will go. If it will be one-sided or pretty even, then I think that is also how the rest of the series will go.
Yeah, and another factor that we should also zone in on is that CSD match was actually played not in the preseason, and if there is something that Hillerød have shown us time and time again that they are just amazing at, it is, being good at adapting to styles and making them work. So they will have the advantage today, at least from what we've seen so far. However, Topaz, they can still pull some, amazing shenanigans off and maybe just completely surprise us with something else. So I don't think that today's game is going to go exactly as the last one, but it should still be really even from both sides.
Yes, and talk about the preseason. So we have a new patch coming out as well. So Karen, can you tell us a little about how this patch, definitely with the Dark Harvest, gonna impact this game?
So basically, before this patch, it was literally just which team has more Dark Harvest runes, and they just win immediately. Now, Dark Harvest has been nerfed. Luckily for us, that we won't be seeing that rune in every single game. Hopefully, maybe we will. It's just generally a lot weaker now, so there will be the possibility of taking other runes, such as the Electrocute or Predator, or even some other actual rune trees. Because we've seen Dark Harvest being taken on something like a Heimerdinger, which is just an abomination in itself. I think you guys can agree. So, yeah, Dark Harvest, definitely one of the biggest changes in this patch, will mean that, maybe the games will be a bit more drawn out. However, with the rest of the changes, I don't think it's going to change the tempo too much, at least from what we've seen in the last games.
Yeah. And also, we've seen the Galio, he's had a little rework, we've seen some changes to Heimerdinger. These are both champions that I think we could see on Hillerød. How is that going to affect them?
Well, talking about these champions, Heimer, he has received not quite a buff or a nerf. There is a middle ground where it isn't even a mini rework. Basically, before this change, his rockets would deal less damage if you hit between 3 and 6, I believe, and then deal full damage when you hit all of them. So it was more about actually hitting every single one. And now after this change, it'll mean that you can actually fake your enemies out a bit, meaning that they'll be doing more damage even if you miss 1 or 2. And this is inherently a buff in a sense, especially to the roster of Hillerød, because Shim has played that pick a lot, mostly in the bot lane. However, he will be pulling it off maybe in the mid lane, where we haven't confirmed that he will be swapping for Knudsen. So Hillerød, they'll be really happy with how that's turning out. Now, Galio, we haven't actually seen it be picked once in the Wintersplit, which is a shame because it's really a good champion for these competitive playstyles. It's more of a solo queue burst mage now, rather than just a pure team-fighting oriented mage. However, you know, we could still see these teams utilizing all of a sudden the burst potential that he has, so that one goes to both of these teams.
And Kashkar, can you... so we know that Topaz, they're playing 3 matches this week. They're playing today, tomorrow, and Tuesday. What kind of mental effect can it have on them having to play 3 days in a row?
Well, it definitely will mean that they will either ride or break or then on their momentum, starting with today. Tomorrow, I believe they will be playing Lyra, and then on Wednesday they will be playing. I don't wait. Let me just check that. They will be playing on Wednesday. It will be Caeli, no, so
Tuesday.
I think. Oh, Tuesday. Anyways, yeah. So on Tuesday they will be playing Caeli. On Monday we'll be playing Lyra. So even though you could, I mean, you can say that the Lyra and Caeli are nowhere as strong as Hillerød right now. It will be very important to make sure that even if you lose today, that you are just staying on top of your game and not going down at any point. Just come in confident, get as many points in these 3 matches on these 3 days, so you can have as best of a start in the second half of the split.
I just also want to ask you guys, because I saw that, I think it was Miho and Twitter and Tracer going on at it on Twitter, and one of them I think it was Miho pointing out that Topaz actually lost a scrim against a Plat team. What kind of effect could this have on the players?
Yeah, do you want to take that?
Well, it really depends on the kind of player that you are, because you can either be like, oh my god, I'm so bad, how did I lose against the Platinum when I'm Diamond or something, and just go completely mental boom, or you can realize, alright, we did something really stupid here, and this is why we lost, and learn from this, even though it is against the Plat. So, although, you know, the fact that they are sharing it on Twitter, I think it might more be the first than the second one.
Karim, so next weekend, the 15th, Saturday next weekend, both of them are playing in the CSD playoffs. Are they going to focus on this Wintersplit match of today, or are they having their heads fully on that CSD playoffs, you think?
I would tell you that they should be focusing on the match next week if it weren't Hillerød and Topaz, because both of these teams, as I said, they do have a rivalry, so this match is more of a match of honor between them, between those two. They can still meet next week in those finals of CSD. However, for today, I think they will be coming just as prepared as they would be to that CSD match. Now, yes, the CSD one will have a bigger priority for them because the winner moves directly into LCD. That is if they both, you know, get into the finals. However, this one is also going to have an effect on the mental state of the players, which we've talked about for a bit, because there is a difference between losing to a Platinum team, yes, that, you know, may hamper your ego a tiny bit, a lot, but losing to your main rival, right, that must hurt a lot more. So, after today's match, I think that the losing team will be really just, really salty. After losing to their, you know, their school bully.
Yeah, and if people want to watch the match, we are gonna, on the CSD channel, we are gonna be the ones casting the Topaz match, at least in the CSD and the finals. So be sure to check that out next week as well. I actually want to take some steps back. So Karim, you mentioned it earlier. Shim and Knudsen has swapped around. Knudsen is going into the bot lane, Shim is going to the mid lane. What can this mean for the team? Does this mean that Knudsen is going to be playing an AD carry, or is he going to take that mage into the bot lane, and we're maybe going to be seeing Shim as an AD carry in the mid lane, or what can it mean?
See, this is the lovely thing about Hillerød and their individual players, because you have so many of these individual play styles that they can pull out. They can pull out a funnel, they can pull out a 1-3-1, whatever. I obsess over their adaptability, honestly. However, with these individual changes, Mini actually hasn't been in a position to really hyper carry his team. He doesn't really play that sort of role, so if there will be someone being funneled, it will be Shim, and most likely putting Mini onto a supportive role. Now, the Knudsen being put into the bot lane, there is a bit less of surprises there. given that he does play his Lucian, so, you know, he can pick that. However, what I'm also looking at, since he is the main mid laner for Hillerød, he does play those mages, so a super early aggressive bot lane from Hillerød is a really big threat and a possibility into this match, so that's something that we should keep an eye on going into the draft phase.
Well, that kind of leads me to how is Topaz going to have to deal with this adaptability of Hillerød? What can they do to deal with it?
Well, yes.
Okay. Well, one place that I am looking at is probably the mid lane and the jungle for Topaz, since Mayhoff actually has been very active, and so has been Mini, so the junglers are another place to focus on. However, Facehurt has shown that he can snowball on pretty much anything that you put him if he has good enough setup and jungle pressure. So I feel if Hillerød are putting Shim into the mid lane, a role that he's not maining, I'm pretty sure he is confident on if he's playing it still, but he's still in not his main role, and that is an exploitable point for Topaz, especially if they decide to draft some early ganking jungler for Mayhoff.
Yeah, the bot lane will just depend, well, it will, damn, what's the word that I'm looking for? It will affect the rest of the games in this whole series, because you will have a possibly super aggressive bot lane from Hillerød. However, you also have Selfway, who loves playing these playmakers. He's really good at them. He has that Pike, he has that Thresh, his Rakan is also something to be feared, and together with Caeli, they can just steamroll over this bot lane of Hillerød, because as Kachka said, you know, Knudsen isn't their main AD carry. He may not be really that versed in that role just yet, so that may be a disadvantage for Hillerød in the long run, rather than an advantage as it may seem.
I will just ask both of you one last question before I go. So, I know I've heard from the whispers around the corners that actually Topaz has started swapping out Yesu and Caeli, which means that Caeli will be playing the top, probably playing top lane, and Yesu is starting to go more towards AD carry. Do you guys think we're going to see this today? And if we are, what kind of effect do you think it's going to have, Karim?
Well, I believe that Yesu has played Veigar in that bot lane once when he was swapped out, so putting Caeli onto the top lane will mean that you will likely see him pick up a tank, because, you know, an off-roll on top lane is literally always just picking tank. However, Aurelia is also a possibility, because he has played that in the Wintersplit once, so these two picks are something that we should really just keep our eyes on, and if they don't go through, it will mean that Topaz are trying to, you know, be a bit more versatile and trying to expand their champion pools, which in itself is a good thing. So, once again, something that we'll just tell you about the team a lot.
Yes, and I think that's all I had for you today. The games are about to start, so I will leave you guys here, and yeah, have some great games, have some great casting. I will definitely be listening in.
Thank you, and see you later, I guess. Yeah, that's
yes,
a good
see you
segue.
later, alligator, anyways.
Yes, oh god.
Over to you guys.
So, we've got a few minutes to stall through right now.
Nice, that's lovely. Fun fact, my client is absolutely lovely right now, and even though there hasn't been any patches that it hasn't downloaded, it's now at 0% of downloading. Nothing. So,
interesting.
That ought to be fun to sit through. Regardless, we have a really interesting series on our hands, and we actually haven't done this in a while, because the person that asked this question was pretty much forced away from these pre-shows, or, well, we convinced her. Regardless, who do you think is gonna win tonight?
The better team.
The better team. There
yes,
we go.
the better team. It's always better team wins. No better jungler, no nothing. To be honest, it will come down, I feel, to you know, just individuals making their plays. Yeah, I said it in the pre-show. I am looking at the junglers to make their impact, but it could also come down to, well, pretty much anyone else, since I can see playmaking potential on any of the members. Just answering that first question that Milo said though, Jizu and Cal swapping, well, the teams are required to be in order. I am right now sitting in the lobby, and Jizu and Cal are in top lane and bot lane respectively, so it doesn't look like they are swapping for now.
Alright, so that will mean that we will have Callum most likely on a hyper carry, even though that Lucian is something that he once again has played a lot in the Wintersplit games, so it will likely be a contested pick in the picks and ban phase. So again, well, just, saying something that we could be expecting. Now, if they won't be swapping, there won't be likely too many shenanigans. However, Hillerød, they always bring something to the party. Once again, swapping Shim into mid lane isn't actually something that we've seen from them so far. So once again, it would just be a testament to them, really, to how they can adapt and play the game. Just all around, nice guys, stuff like that.
Yeah. We should be going into the game pretty soon. How's your client, Karim? Are you?
No, it's currently not. 0%.
It's okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I'm a backseat caster, as they say.
Good. I mean, not good.
It's okay.
But yeah, we should be going into the pro draft fairly soon. So yeah.
Indeed. Also, a point that I want to reiterate. We've said it quite a bit in our in the pre-shows. However, Nico, she has come out. She is not quite broken, but alas, not something that too many players are used to. However, we won't be seeing her on the Rift, as she will be banned until the second part of the split. So, just we won't be seeing her, unfortunately.
Yeah, Nico is not here until, as you said it, from after the Wintersplit promotion games. I lost the word there for a second. So no Nico, no interesting mechanics. So pretty much it's going to be interesting, because I actually saw that Facehurt did practice her in solo queue at the very least. So that is one champion that he cannot play. And yeah, the links are now being sent out, so we should be going into the draft fairly soon. Just to touch on that Lucian though, I think it will be interesting to see whether the teams will prioritize to ban it or pick it, since I have seen quite a lot of Lucians around these AD carries match histories, as well as, it being a strong champion in the Wintersplit overall.
Yeah, and it would actually make sense for Hillerød to just straight out ban the pick, just because they will have Nutan in that bot lane, and Lucian actually isn't his only AD carry pick. They can go for that dual mage bot lane, which would mean that there will be a lot of poke, a lot of just possible kills happening in the bot lane once again, even though it'll be Tauber, I believe, today playing for the support role, so likely just pure engage, again, early aggression, that's the name of the game for Hillerød. So just taking away this Lucian from Topaz, meaning that they have to put Caeli onto a hyper carry or late game carry, will mean that they will have a bit of a better segue into the mid game, where they can just take over and win over Topaz as they did in the CSD matches. So I think that Hillerød will ban it out, but alas, they may just end up respecting Topaz's other picks, which, they have quite a few of.
You touched on Tauber. In the Discord before the games, it was apparently said by Tauber that the biceps will be flexed. Ooh. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can bring out. He played a lot of Leona and Thresh in the bot. I don't know what that was. Anyways, a lot of Leona and I'm getting haunted. Leona and Thresh in his solo queue. In the last 20 games, I believe that there was pretty much the only champions he played. He played apart from with one exception. So I'm looking forward to seeing some nice playmaking from him, or something else. He can probably play more than 2 champions, I would assume.
Yeah, most likely he has quite a diverse champion pool. However, all of those seem to be these really strong playmaking champions. So Alistair, Rakan, even Pyke, I believe that he has played a few times. So that's always a possibility for him to pick up. However, we will be going into the draft phase finally, as maybe my client will decide that it's not going to be stupid anymore. But yeah, Topaz just hovering over the ban, thinking about it. Really just deep.
Yes. Deep analysis, and it will be the Aatrox.
The Aatrox. Okay, my client is fixed. Wonderful.
Let's go back to the draft. Alistar ban.
Game log is full. Well, this is just going on so well. Regardless, Aatrox, he has received a nerf to his jungle form. However, we actually haven't seen it be picked in the Wintersplit ourselves. Now, banning Aatrox away from Hillerød means that you were a bit scared of Nonki. He is a really just scary split pusher. When you put it that way, he can make pretty much anything work. He has played that Victor a lot, so that is also something that you should that you should be scared of, but banning away that Aatrox means that he won't be really able to seize that the means of production in the top lane completely.
No, he will not be able to do so. Banning also the Lucian out, you mentioned it. A strong pick for both of these teams, just getting rid of it. Surprising for me, at least a little bit, because Topaz is on the blue side, so they could be looking to first pick it. They will decide not to do so. Hillerød, though, getting rid of the Camille, a strong jungler that Mechov could get his hands on, and also I believe it was practiced in top lane, so pretty standard and low-key expected bans coming in from both of the teams.
Low-key expected, yeah. Camille has received once again a nerf to her jungle form, meaning that her clear will be a bit slower just because they nerfed her attack speed. But that top lane Camille can still be a big threat, as it won't actually affect her too terrifyingly much. So just, you know, making sure that Topaz cannot get their hands on, once again, a split pusher means that, you know, they're a bit terrified of the top lane picks, a lot of them being relegated over to that side of the map.
Morgana will be the finishing ban away from Hillerød, so they're actually choosing to get rid of the two supports. Will slightly pinch that pool, but Irelia will be the lock-in for Topaz.
And that is interesting, because I believe it is going to be a ban for Yizu. However, it is a flex pick right now. You can swap it around between Yizu and and Facehurt, sorry. Both of these players have played it quite a bit. Now Karthus is just being hovered, meaning that either Shim or Knudsen will be taking it. They're just deciding that we'll be taking the Sandra. Regardless, everything right now is a flex pick, and I feel like that is going to be the story of the picks and ban phase for the rest of this series, just because every player can play everything, and you really just have no idea what is going where at this point.
Maybe this is what Tauber meant by flexing, you know?
Well, I'm not sure that...
Just flexing the picks.
I'm not sure that if you say that you will flex your bicep, it will automatically mean that you're flexing something in a pick and ban phase. But I could be wrong. I'm not sure of my physiology.
You're flexing on the enemy coach.
True, but is it your biceps?
Depends how you push the button. I mean, anyway, I guess you can somehow try and push the button so you're actually flexing your biceps. I don't know, I'm not an expert. However, Topaz, they get themselves the thresh for the self-aid. Hovering the Heimerdinger will switch to a hover of Veigar or Ziggs. So a lot of mages that could be flexed as well into the bottom mid lane. Or Aurelia and Soul for Facehurt.
Just put even more picks. There we go. Another Veigar and it will be locked in. Now, I'm not sure if Facehurt has a history with it. I believe that the most important pick for him is that Aurelia, that he has really just been styling on every single cool kid on the block. Could be also flexed to the top lane, where Yizu has played it in the bot lane, but you know, Veigar top, it can be strong into certain matchups. But again, Topaz just having really just one pick where you know where they're going, and oh my god, that's a Yasuo.
That is a Yasuo indeed, and I don't know what is going on in this draft phase. I am pretty sure I saw Yasuo supporting either Selfie or no. I saw one game. I will hold on to that. I don't think it is support though.
Yeah, Glacial Augment Yasuo support doesn't sound like the best thing, honestly.
No, yeah, probably not the greatest one. Well, it is a Yasuo though, and honestly I have no idea who's going anywhere apart from the fact that I'm pretty sure Thresh will be support. So Hillerød just deciding to ban away the Cyan for the good measure.
Yeah, however, right now you don't really have too many aggressive bot laners for Topaz left to pair up with this Thresh, so you might see something like an Ezreal who can develop that early pressure. Will depend on what Hillerød decides to ban. Topaz just paying respect to how much Tauber has played that Sun Lady in every single solo queue game of his, so you know, just really making sure that they actually do their research, and I think that this answers the question of how prepared they are for the games today, because, once again, a match of honor, rivalry, and it seems that Topaz have done their homework for once.
They definitely do not be the one to lose this game. Hillerød, they are banning both of the top laners that Jisoo likes to play, so they are expecting this Irelia to go mid lane, or I guess maybe bot lane. Kayn is the hover ban from Topaz. Honestly, I don't know. These next two picks can define these compositions so much for now. The only thing that is pretty certain for Topaz is that they have they have pretty much more late game scaling, although that's not decided anyways because Yasuo, Karthus, and Lissandra are also pretty good. So both of these teams have late game elements to them.
They have a Veigar, which means that they have the superior late game scaling. I mean, yes. I see where you're coming from. Hero, they seem to be going for that early aggression, though. You are right. Yasuo once again could be flexed also to the bot lane in the hands of Knudsen, and especially with an aggressive support like that Rakan can really sow a lot of destruction into the lines of Topaz. So Hero right now just putting a lot of aggression into the early game, but also getting something for themselves late game, where you will have that Karthus and Lissandra if the game goes on for long enough.
And Hillerød, they are looking to build some sort of engaged composition, but immediately Topaz are answering with a Poppy. And now that is a Kassadin Haver, which would be, I would actually really like to see it against Lissandra and Karthus, so much AP damage, that this Kassadin will be so scary. If Topaz get it, then late game, I'm pretty sure it will be theirs.
And if it will be the Kassadin locked in, Hillerød will still have a last pick where they don't know where anything from Topaz is going. You have Poppy in the jungle, Thresh in the bot lane, but everything else could be swapped around. So just really we have to see what Hillerød think is going where. Will be the Xin Zhao, likely. Not the best of picks into Poppy, as she can block your only way to engage upon them. However, it doesn't matter if you have Poppy on your team when she's not where Xin Zhao is, because, you know, she can't block you from across the map, or so I've heard anyway.
Yes, and also with that Xin Zhao lock-in, Hillerød, they are really looking at so much engage on their side with the Rakan, with the Xin Zhao and the Lissandra, and then follow-up from Yasuo, and the Karthus outplay Baden with the ultimate. You know, Poppy cannot block them all. I guess they also have Veigar and Thresh, so for me in the mid game it will really be about Hillerød trying to get the engage and Topaz trying to stop them.
Yeah, and as you've said, the jungler difference will really depend, it will affect the course of the game a lot now that you have that Xin Zhao and Poppy locked in. Poppy, in mid-game team fights, she will be able to block a lot of these dashes, especially in the form of Yasuo and Xin Zhao, so it'll come down to how much can Hillerød snowball in the early game before they actually have to take these big fights, where Topaz, at least right now, have the superior just advantage in the form of Veigar Kassadin, you know, if he gets to scale. However, from Topaz you also have the split push potential in the form of Aurelia, so it'll just depend on how can both of these teams play through their early game rather than just try to stall out.
Alright, just a few things roster-wise, because I'm not sure what this stream is showing right now. Hidden Shadow is the jungler for Hillerød in the game 1, however, Cal and Jisoo just swapped in the lobby. Cal is going top lane and Jisoo will be playing bot lane.
Okay, so that is interesting. So most likely Veigar will be in the bot lane. Kala likely actually on the Aurelia top, which isn't something that we see too terrifying often, just in the form of Kala. Once again, what a lovely man. However, now at least we know where what's going. So it'll be Thresh Veigar bot lane, which can actually fall prey to the Rakan. I'm not sure who is the bot laner. Have they locked it in yet?
No, we are not yet going into the actual client champ select. We will be just right now, so I guess we'll go into the break and find out after we come back, so stay tuned.
Tonight I'm coming out the shadows. Long time coming, gonna get what's mine. I'm here standing at the doorway, staring down my glory. It's my time. 'Cause I'm a blade in the darkness. I'm a bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come and let me get some. Never gonna back down, never gonna break, won't bend now. Tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor, the champion. I'll It's all on me, gonna own it. Running to the top now, I won't stop. 'Cause I'm a blade in the darkness. I'm a bullet in the gun, that's me. My heart, it beats like a bass drum. Come and let me get some. Never gonna back down, never gonna break, won't bend now. Tonight there's gonna be a showdown. Tonight there's gonna be war. This is what we came for. The victor
Hello and welcome everyone, we are back in the game right now after the short break. I'm Kachka, joined by Kerem, and we're going into game 1 between Hillerød Esport and Serenity Gaming Topaz.
Howdy everyone. If you just come, then you should really just be excited about what's going to just unfold in front of us tonight, because this match is the match of the Giants.
Well, looks like we might actually have it in very big advantage. On to selfie will connect. The Thresh has got the flash available, will play them away. That's fashion. The turret ignite is ticking down though, and will actually get taken down by Shim. Just birdie as the first blood goes over to the Yasuo.
And that is just disgusting for the side of Topaz, at least right now. Getting an early kill over on the side of Shim, or rather Yasuo, is something that, you know, you don't really want. I think that I can say that and be really confident on it, given that he is a champion that loves to snowball. He'll be able to start with an early control ward and a dagger, so, you know, nothing too terrifying for Phaser to be facing. However, it will mean that he'll have a bit of a harder time on that mid lane, given that he just wants to farm up, he just wants to get those minions and then destroy everyone in late game, whereas Yasuo, he wants to take over early game and just blow you out of lane.
Yeah, and this kill will definitely help him achieve that. Hidden Shadow will start on the red buff. It will be warded though, so Topaz are very much aware of that movement. Mayhov will start on the blue buff though, so I'm interested to see how these junglers will path around. Hidden Shadow will moving towards that topside jungle. I mean, look at the wards. Topaz are aware of this, so he won't be able to really put down too much pressure. Nonki, the topside, is also taking a not the greatest trade against the Aurelia.
And Aurelia playing into Alessandra would generally mean that, you know, you won't be having a good time, rather you'll be having a bad time, as a rather certain skeleton would say. However, Kala has surprised us time and time again whenever he plays top lane, because...
Ooh, Nonki? Alright, he did get tagged by the stun. Will be forced to use the flash as well there. I just thought for a second it could turn into more than a kill, but we actually already see Cal showing dominance in that top lane matchup.
Yeah, and one... so, returning to my own point, we've seen Kala just dominate top lane with this Aurelia pick, even though he is the main role AD carry, and I feel like that just is a testament to how good of a player he is, just because, you know, he can do that stuff into even unfavorable matchups in which Lissandra, frankly, should be winning just because she's ranked.
Yeah, she is in right now. The CSD has been close, however no flash on that Lissandra will mean that Nonki will probably be relegated to that tower farming duty for now. Otherwise on the map, not too much is happening so far. The junglers are still yet to make their first ganks. Hidden Shadow is slightly ahead of CS of his counterpart, and both of the junglers are bot side. So, you know, I'm just looking at them, seeing where they will go.
There could be some shenanigans happening in the bot lane. You have that, I'm going to say, a good engage options from both sides with this Rakan and the Thresh, so you can make a lot of happen there.
Top lane, Caeli's running very low, so is Nonky to flash away, but the minion traitor will give Nonky the kill.
And, damn, I just praised Caeli for how well he has played this top lane every single time, but now he falls into the hands of Lissandra, who just got an unfavorable trade fighting in a big minion wave, so, you know, no big surprises there. Just offsetting the balance a tiny bit.
Okay, Facehurt will be forced to flash away. Good pressure from Shim, Hidden Shadow also being in a position to force that Sounder means that right now, Hillerød will have that window of opportunity before Cassidy hits 6 to punish him.
Yeah, and right now, both of these teams are actually really even at forcing out these summoners all over the map. You have 2 kills on the side of Hillerød, so that isn't the best of starts for Topaz. However, you do have that flash down on Lissandra, who else doesn't really have a good form of escape if you manage to...
Keep your eyes on the mid lane. Predator has been used already by Mayhoff, but Hidden Shadow takes down Facehurt easily. The Popina will be ignited down, will go under her own turret, but it is a 3rd kill for Hero at 5 minutes, and they will get a 1,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and the most important thing for Hillerød is snowballing this game, and so far they are doing exactly that, getting a couple of kills on all of their carries. You have a kill on Lissandra, Yasuo, Zinzao. Right now, Hillerød are just going to be really happy with how they're managing to play out their early game.
And the game 1 against Topaz in the CSD, it was a similar story with Hillerød getting ahead early as well, so I'm interested to see if they can do... You know, just repeat what they have done last time, a different patch, a different playstyle, very much also different team comps and swapping around people, but, you know, we could be very much seeing the same thing.
We could be seeing something similar now. In the CSD, there was a bit of a silver lining for Topaz, where in the
Hidden Shadow Flash that she's charged into the middle lane, that's fine, the knockup does find this slow, and Facehurt will be taken down once again. Shim, 2-0 and 1 on the Yasuo.
And that is just not something that you really want. Again, Yasuo, one of the most snowbally champions in the entire game. And at this point, you're giving him a couple of kills. Yeah, you're not going to be a happy feller. You'll be able to get that Phantom Dancer really early on, so it's going to be a real pain, especially if he decides to roam to other lanes.
And you have that setup in the towers, Rakan in the bot lane. Also, Nonky can set up for himself. So there are opportunities for Shim to move around this map if he wishes to. He can also just sit in the sideline and split push once he gets to a few items. So Hillerød sitting comfortably with options right now, and we're only 6.5 minutes into the game.
And so far they do have 4 kills. They are 1,000 gold ahead. So once again, they'll be just looking to end this game as soon as they can, before Cassidy and scaling can actually kick off, similar to how the Veigar is supposed to play out.
And it's a very good thing that you mentioned that, because the scaling, it is the thing that Topaz must rely on, and it is a... I have to say, the scaling is reliable. I didn't want to repeat myself there, but you have the Cassidy, the Veigar, Irelia, pretty much anyone doing so well in the late game that Hillerød, they are doing well, but they are on a timer, more or less.
They really are on a timer, because if they just don't punish them hard enough, which it shouldn't happen, they really should just be able to completely stomp them out with how this early game is developing. But if they don't, they won't win late game fights. If the game goes on longer, more than 30 or 40 minutes, Hillerød will be in a really tough spot where they just get blown up by virtually anything in the lineup of Topaz. Now, the good thing for Hillerød is that this preseason meta is really snowbally and really favors early games, so they will have that going for them.
Yeah, Facehurt now has got access to the Rift Walk, and another gank attempt from Hidden Shadow. Flash forward, that's fine, the knock up into the last breath, and Shim does not care about the ultimate. He finds a 3rd one onto Facehurt.
And Shim is just getting himself so much ahead. Indeed, he has had Hidden Shadow in that lane more than once, however, really...
At the bot lane, ooh, a great play will interrupt Halbert's grand entrance, and the hook onto Cruz and will break him down. He goes into the passive though, Selfie pops down the box for some stalling out. The Requiem will not deal quite enough damage. However, here comes Shim. Both Jisoo and Selfie are under the turret though, so it looks like it just will be a 1-for-1 trade.
Yeah, if Shim had decided to go for that, he may have been a bit too overeager. to get even more ahead. However, once again, getting those kills on your early game snowballers. You will also have a couple of kills now in the hands of Xin Zhao. And for Topaz, this is exactly what you didn't want. Because you don't want to be going for these early game fights. You're definitely going to lose them, especially since Hillerød are already this much ahead. And this is going to be proving a big trouble as the side of Hillerød just take, you know, themselves the first Drake of the game.
This is the Cloud Drake, which will mean that there is so much more mobility around the map for all of the members. Tauber on their account will be able to go anywhere he wants. Shim also will be able to roam, as you said earlier, he tried to go bot lane, so he's definitely looking for these opportunities, and then Hidden Shadow will be able to just be so much more active on the Xin Zhao. And as we are approaching 10 minutes, what do Topaz want to do to make sure that they have something else to do rather than just wait for the late game?
Well, they really just should try to keep their defensive vision. On the bot lane, they shouldn't push like at all. They cannot give Hillerød even more opportunities to snowball their lead. However, that might prove a bit troublesome, as you will have this really aggressive Asian man in the form of Xin Zhao just jumping at you and cutting you up with a spear. So they just need to stall the game out. They just need to set up their defensive vision, both in the bot lane, and try to snowball through their top lane.
We're 10 minutes into the game.
Indeed.
Look at Shim's inventory.
Yeah, that's not good. Having a Phantom Dancer this early on will just mean that he'll be dealing even more damage than he has before. And I feel like we have to reiterate, he is an AD carry player. He isn't a main mid. So just seeing him pull off this great gameplay on something that he isn't even technically supposed to be able to play is just really virtuous of him.
Oh, he does follow the last burst onto Phaser. The Ignite is dying, running down. He goes under the turret, and he will be on the rampage in the top side, though. Cal is under his own turret on 300 HP. The dashes charge from Hidden Shadow will seal the deal, and another 2 kills going in favor of Hillerød.
Yeah, and just nothing is working out for Topaz right now. They're just losing opportunities all over the map, as the Twitch apparently just decided to go offline for a bit. Regardless, you now have this really fatty Yasuo in the form of Shin, and with how he has been playing so far, he should be able to take over the game. Now, I mentioned that you should be looking to snowball through top lane. However, Kala is now 0-2, so really for Topaz right now, they aren't achieving anything, and they just need to, once again, try to stall, give up a couple of objectives and advantages, and then come out on top later in the game. Definitely not looking now to set up anything.
They need to be looking for some mistakes from Hillerød. They need to try and pick out some people, because they have the potential to do so with the Thresh, with the Vygar. They can find, you know, people if they isolate them. The problem is, as you said, that yeah, Shim is 4-0-1 on the Yasuo mid lane. Hidden Shadow 3-0-3 on the jungle, has got the Herald as well, so Hillerød have got more than enough tools to just snowball this game even further and further. And now in the top lane though, Hidden Shadow is jumping onto Cal right now. There is some trading. Cal is already 300 HP. Hidden Shadow is running low as well though, will be on a rampage. And another kill.
Another kill, yeah, I feel like that just describes this game perfectly. Just another kill. It doesn't really feel like Hillerød are even breaking a sweat. And I feel like compared to what we saw in that CSD match, this is just so much more dominant. Because they're snowballing this so cleanly. Herald has been taken from them and has been popped in the top lane, which will mean even more gold into the pockets of that Xin Zhao and Lissandra. So, once again, a really dominant performance from Hillerød thus far.
Shim is out farming Phaser by around 40-45 CS at this point on the Yasuo. That is an insane lead. The entire top lane has already been broken. The mid lane one is sitting on 2 platings. And this is just so much objective control. But as you said, Topaz, they have the scaling. They just need to conceive the right objectives and, you know, try and wait this out. But it will be a tough road ahead of them.
It will be a tough one, especially as you said, your mid lane is just so far behind. And yes, it was thanks to the virtue of Shim getting that early kill in that invade and also receiving a couple of ganks, but right now it's all Shim. Once again, he's just been playing everything himself, and all over the map, the rest of Hillerød team is just doing their job. You know, you have this Cactus who is just farming up, not ceding too many objectives over to the side of Topaz.
Oh, that's a nice hook onto Knudsen. The Ignite Ace Pop down. He has to flash away, flash forward with the Primordial Burst. And Jizu gets himself on the ball. The teleport is coming in down from Nonki. Ignite is down onto the play. Will be flashed away from the Grand Entrance. Mayhov is in the ball lane on the Poppy as well. He now tries to rush away the Glacial Prison. Goes in a hook onto Nonki. But he finds Jizu. Nevertheless, he actually finds a double kill. And a triple one with the passive.
That is just... you gotta love Riot, right? Because if they hadn't changed that passive, that wouldn't have been a clean triple kill.
And right now, Shim just goes and Soul Blast Facers will be 1 versus 4 under the turret. Literally nothing that Topaz could have done better this time. And they only trade 1 kill for 4 and a tower.
And once again, I feel like this situation itself just shows us why preseason is so crazy. Like in Season 8, this was literally impossible. Because the teleport would have been cancelled from Facehurt. The passive wouldn't have secured Nonki that triple kill.
Oh, top lane, we see trading between Kala and Knudsen is running low. Kala will pick up the kill, but the Requiem will trade it back.
Yeah, that's the skill button. That's the pure mechanical skill of Knudsen, however.
The outplay.
The biggest outplay. However, I have to say, Knudsen has been hitting a lot of his Qs and making sure that, you know, he does have that constant damage per second. So, really well played from him. And right now you have 6,000 of a gold lead on the lineup of Hillerød. You have all of the outer turrets on the side lanes taken down. And at this point, Topaz should just retreat further into their base. Just trying to, you know, get a couple of items on themselves, because Facehurt hasn't even finished his first one.
And there's even more fighting in the mid lane. Looks like no engage will be found from Hillerød. They will just back out after taking some more damage. However, before that fight in the bot lane, Nonki was the only carry, I guess apart from Knudsen, that really didn't have kills. Well, he literally picked up that triple kill. Now he is 4-0 and 1. Already finished the Luden Seko, working towards that Zonias. And Knudsen is really the only person that isn't insanely ahead of their counterpart. It will be so tough for Topaz. However, right now, top lane, Cow might be looking for another kill, and he will find it on Knudsen once more. No Requiem means no return kill this time.
Yeah, if you have no Requiem, you officially cannot kill anyone as Karthus. That's the law, basically. And so at least Kala is actually getting a couple of advantages on himself, meaning that he will be the most important member in every team fight, along with Yizu, who hasn't actually really fallen out of grace too much. He is 1-1, he has finished that Archangel staff, so he will still be dealing a relatively lot of damage.
A fight in the mid lane, and Yizu will just get bursted down. Grand Entrance onto Selfer will find the knockout. The Predator from Mayhawk tries to zone away the members of the Hillerød. A nice steadfast presence will mean that Shin will not follow up, but the turret taken nevertheless.
Yizu would deal a lot of damage if he weren't dead. I feel like that's something that a lot of players tend to forget. That if you're dead in League of Legends, you cannot actually deal damage. So bursting Yizu down is just not something
that's a good death sentence. Onto Shim, he's running very low in the team fight. Ignite is ticking down. However, Hillerød, they are still staying alive. Nonki is unstoppable as Hidden Shadow kills Mayhov under the turret. 1 kill will be only traded back now. Jizu in the backline does find the kill with the Primordial Burst onto Nonki. Tower is trying to follow it up with some damage. The Dark Matter will not find the kill. And a 4-4-2 fight in favor of Hillerød drops in at 17 minutes.
And at this point, at least Topaz are getting some of those kills back on their back. However, it won't be enough. This turret does fall, and that will just mean that the base is that much more vulnerable. Silver Lining, once again, Baron hasn't spawned yet. However, it won't take long for him to come up also onto the Rift. Just about 2 minutes. So, as soon as that Baron buff is taken, it's just going to be that much faster from Hillerød. Now, I don't believe that Topaz can really mount too big of an offensive onto that Baron buff. They really have to make a miraculous steal in the form of Mayhop if they want to make themselves live if they want to live throughout this game even further. However, it's going to be an uphill battle from them.
Talking about silver lining, we've got the Road of Ages on Facehurt, let's go! I mean, to be honest, he's in a very, very tough spot. I do not want to make fun of him, but, you know, he has been shut down so hard by Hidden Shadow and Shim. He is 0 and 6, 70 CS behind. At least it's good that he has completed this Road of Ages, which should be completed by, stacked up by about 29 minutes. So we are probably looking at around 35 minutes when Topaz will be pretty strong.
Yeah, however, that is such a long time for them, given how dominant Hillerød have been at just snowballing the game away from control of Topaz. So that long probably might be just a bit too big of a time gap between Topaz actually surviving and, you know, just completely dying on and just breathing their last.
Facehurt now will have to back out on this bot lane since members of Hillerød, they are looking to establish vision control under that bot side. Talber is sitting behind that turret, has got the flash and the quickness. And he can make this plays. Facehurt just decides to back away with the Rift Wolf. We might be in for a fight if Hillerød decide to stay. 4 members of Topaz are sitting down there. Caeli in the top lane is sitting on a teleport. However, it is all about that Infernal Dragon that has spawned right now, and Hillerød will be looking to just get their hands on that objective.
Yeah, this game just has been such a great showing of what you should be doing in every single game. Hillerød are pushing every single objective in such unison that Topaz really cannot catch a break once they are in mid lane, taking away your turrets.
Oh, that Death Brush. Mayhoff will get slowed by the Wall of Pain, knocked up Last Breath, and Knudsen gets the kill.
And that is the problem of when you're behind. You literally have no vision inside of your own jungle, and the opposing team can just do that. They just... and you're just gone, wiped off of the map, just like Thanos. So, once again, Hillerød, really clean game from them, I'm going to say. If Topaz wants to come back, they really have to just wait until 40 minutes at this point. So, you know, a bit of a tough task, but not impossible.
Yeah, the Baron though has spawned now, and Hillerød, they are in probably one of the best positions you can be in. I guess the only thing to throw on top of that would be a potential bot lane down. However, a fight in the mid lane is about to erupt. Shim is in the middle of everyone. The Vanguard's edge is pretty good coming in from Cal, but he's just cut down in the front line as Hidden Shadow gets the kill. Facehurt getting over the wall, avoiding the stun. A great cage coming in for the Vanguard. Knudsen trying to be in the middle of everyone. Dish out the damage with the Defile, but Mayhoff is just too tanky for now. With Shim being down, a 1-for-1 trade for Topaz looks very good. A death sentence onto Tower, and that's a nice chunk of damage, but will not result in much more.
Yeah, and Topaz are fighting back. They won't be super happy to be in every single engage that Hillerød managed to pull out. However, getting these trades is still good for them, just because it means that they haven't lost control that much, where they just cede kills.
Facehurt will get picked out in the bot lane. However, Nonky might have overstayed right here, or will he? No, he will not. He will just take the glacial path away to safety, and Topaz really are struggling to get these picks, but you know, I guess they're making progress.
They are making progress, yeah, I agree with you, but again, how much progress can you make before your base is just completely taken over? Hillerød haven't actually managed to secure themselves any big objectives through these fights, just those kills. They do decide to take the turret on the bot lane. However, as you said, Baron is up, and as soon as Hillerød path towards it, it will be trouble brewing for Topaz, just because Hillerød have no other objectives left in the bot lane to take.
Jesus though will be the big person to look at. He has completed 2 items and stacked his Archangel staff, or is it the Archangel staff? I never know. It's the Seraph's Embrace. So he has that shield, he has got the damage, and Cal also has been able to consistently do stuff in the team fights, and Mayhoff is getting tanky. So once this Baron spawns, yes, Hillerød will have an easy access, but I can see Topaz, should they find that perfect pick, get the fight and try to turn this game in their favor.
Most certainly, we saw in the last fight that if Shim gets bursted down early, Hillerød don't really have that much damage, just because you do have some magic resist on the side of Topaz, and any form of damage outside of Yasuo that can be considered consistent in those teamfights is AP on Hillerød. So that is one of the benefits that you get when you just kill Yasuo. But to do that, they need Shim to either overstep or really just need to get a good death sentence or otherwise catch him out.
A turret will be taken by Hillerød in the top lane, just adding the 6th one into their bank. Only the inhibitor turrets remaining for Topaz. So right now actually Hillerød, they just will be looking to push division in, since Topaz, if you look at the Baron, they actually have a decent division control compared to how behind they are. But right now Nonki, he does get slowed by the Vanguard's Edge, flashes out and looks like he will get away to safety. But right now Hillerød, they could be looking for the disengage, but they will not pull the trigger.
And right now, that could have gone really terribly for Topaz, even though Hillerød didn't have Shim together with them there. So good on them to to just taking away these important summoner spells from Hillerød. Now you have Flash left on Shim and Hidden Shadow, so the rest of the team will be a bit kneecapped. However, once again, you really need more than that if you want to turn this game around, and what they need is to find Shim and kill him. So if Shim falls in the beginning of a team fight, Topaz can win. If he doesn't, it's going to be really hard for them to win.
And that is exactly why we see this Sterak's Gauge in the Shim's inventory. It will give him more of that tankiness and survivability. And another Infernal Dragon will spawn, and we already see Hillerød just groping around this objective, looking to take it easily without any contest.
And that is just terrifying if you look at how far ahead Hillerød is, and the fact that this will be their 4th Drake, 2nd Infernal. They'll be dealing a lot of damage and will just be an absolute menace in every single teamfight that you decide to pick with them. Luckily Topaz, they are responding to that objective with setting up vision around that Baron pit, so they will at least know when Hillerød decide to go and take it. So really just taking the best option that they can at this point.
Nonki will be putting pressure down in the bot lane. He has got the teleport. Looks like will be answered by Headfacer. The hook landing onto Shim. This could be the pick. Shim is gonna get caught out, and the great denial with the steadfast principle. Shim is still alive. Can he get taken down? Yes, he will. Cal against the shutdown in the end. Nonki cannot even get into the fight. The 3rd one going in for Topaz. And they might be looking for the fight with, but Selfway will get traded back already. Cal is low, Jizu is low as well, and so is Mayhoff. Hidden Shadow could be looking for the cleanup. Can he find it? Can he find the triple? He's going in, he gets one, knocks back another one. Nonki picks up the kill, and a good fight starts from Topaz, but it just is not enough against Hillerød. It is a 3-4-3-4 now, and Jizu is still on the run.
However, the most important thing there is that Topaz did make sure that Hillerød don't have enough members to actually secure any big objectives for them. They did fight a good fight, and this is exactly what they need if they want to turn this game around. Now, it is the 26th minute as we are in a pause. However, they just need about 10 more minutes, 10 to 15 really. And the timer is starting to tick for Hillerød. They haven't been able to find any big objectives thus far from every single pick that they managed to get. And if it goes on like this for long enough, Topaz have a really tangible way to get back into this game.
And we just saw Selfway getting a very crucial pick onto Shim. If he can repeat that, if he can find these picks, and Mayhope, if he can deny the initial re-engage from Tauber, that is exactly how Topaz has to win these fights. And of course, if this fight showed anything, those are the 2 things. First, that Topaz can win, and they just showed us how, and I just said it, you said it, I'm not gonna go over it yet another time. But second of all, is that even though they can win these fights, they just need more time and more items to actually not get killed right after the fight.
However, even getting these fights where they manage to kill a couple of members of Hillerød is good for them just because they are stalling the game out. It isn't something that they should be going for every single time. They shouldn't just be rushing themselves at the wall that is Hillerød. However, finding these little fights, finding these little picks means that they will be able to stall the game out. And I feel like this is a bit of a similar story to what we saw in the CSD, just from a different perspective, where Hillerød had to come back into that game to win it, and Topaz might just be looking to return them the favor.
Oh, what a story will it be if that happens. However, we are still far away. Good thing for Topaz is that Hillerød haven't really extended their goal lead majorly over the last 5 or so minutes, and the Baron is still up for taking. So I could see it happening, but you know, you still have to respect how ahead Hillerød is right now, and they are now going for this Baron with 4 members clearing out division at first.
However, you will have this really tanky Poppy. She is sitting on 2 finished items, so that's pretty much a full build for her. So she will be a problem if you decide to go for a Baron fight, just because...
Yeah, that is a teleport from Cal.
That is a teleport from Cal.
No, I was actually majorly confused because I saw the Predator pop for Mayhope teleport from Cal, and I'm like, where's the fight? What are we looking at? Looks like Topaz thought they could be maybe getting a pick, but in the end decided that they're not really in a position to, and that is a teleport down on the Ardelia.
Yeah, I believe that they thought that Hillerød were just going to go straight for the Baron. However, alas, Hillerød didn't, and they just baited out essentially a teleport away from Callus, so you have 2 more in the lineup of Topaz, so there won't be a really uneven fight, there shouldn't be at least. Unless Caeli decides to split push while his team engages or something like that, but that shouldn't really happen, as Baron is slowly getting started.
The Baron is started, teleport is available for Phase 30, will now just back out towards his start, maybe looking for that opportunity. The Baron is still kept aggro, it is on 5000 HP, but the rest of Topaz are there to try and respawn. A hook onto the Shadow Woman. Now he goes in with the engage, Tauber finds 1 charm onto Barris, that's fine, the knockup onto Selfway, who will drop very low, but the root onto Jisoo, and he will get taken down. A double kill for Nonky, Knudsen gets 1 as well, and the 4th kill will go down as Shim picks that one up. Return in as the second one goes in, but a ace 4-2 in favor of Hillerød, and they will be looking for the Baron.
And just an absolute tragedy for Topaz right now. Hillerød will be able to pick up that Baron, and I've mentioned it a lot, but taking this Baron will just mean that you will be able to speed this game up tremendously. This should mean 1 or 2 inhibitors for Hillerød. And Topaz, they are trying so hard, but Hillerød are just so far ahead. Once again, we saw a good engage can turn the tides of a team fight, but not when you have 12 kills and the enemy has 30, and is essentially was 10k gold ahead. And once again, Shim lived through that team fight. You didn't manage to catch him out, and you paid a dear price for it, as, you know, Hillerød will just take the Baron and run with it.
They just stall out the aggro for as long as possible to make sure that it will be available on all 5 members, and taking a quick run down the items. Hillerød, they are in such a strong position, they are out, they have more items than their counterparts across the lanes. Even right now, Knudsen has 3 items compared to 2.5 of Jisoo, so still not a huge lead, but did manage to close that from earlier. And with that Baron, with those leads, with yet another dragon being alive, the Ocean one right now, Hillerød, they will be finally looking to put the nail in the coffin and close this game 1 out.
And taking just a 5th Drake just to style on Topaz right now. You mentioned the item disparity being a bit closed. Now, I want to focus on Shim because he actually had to buy QSS, just because he has so much hard CC from Topaz. So it will be even more difficult to lock him down if he finds 1 engage on him.
Tauber does look for the quickness, but does not find anything. Will be enough to zone away Topaz from that inhibitor. Last breath follows. Shim is getting hooked back. He does use the QSS. He flashes it, but will get taken out. Oh, well, he survives until now. Shutdown for Fates, the 1 for now for 1. Donkey uses this frozen tomb on himself. Zonius as well. Mayhope in the front line is stacking enough damage for now. Hidden Shadow goes in with the audacious charge. Jisoo force into the Zonias, and another kill drops in favor of Hillerød. The Requiem counts down. Facer and Selfie, the only 2 members alive, up against Hidden Shadow, Knudsen and Tauber. The first target will be taken, a death sentence landing onto the Jin Zhao. The stopwatch is used by Facer. He does get the Rift Talk away. Audacious charge from Hidden Shadow into the Cassidy, and Knudsen takes down Facer. And with this kill, Hillerød will be looking for the Nexus, and they will take the game 1 over Topaz.
And overall, just a really dominant performance from Hillerød. There have been moments where Topaz could have had come back through the stagnation of Hillerød. However, they managed to close the game out pre-40 minutes, and Topaz couldn't really do anything. Hillerød just snowballed so cleanly, and it won't be the lovely scenario that I mentioned just, you know, repeating the same setting that happened in CSD, just from the other perspective, as Hillerød take a very convincing win. And, you know, hopefully Topaz will try to innovate. Hopefully they pick something to rival the early game aggression of Hillerød, or just decide not to give them these early leads. It will all come down to their performance and their execution in the second game.
It will. I mean, you say it was a clean performance. I agree. It was definitely very clean, but you know, it still dragged out for longer than I feel like it had to be. Well played from Topaz, that is. I don't want to criticize Hillerød for that. So, you know, I'm excited to see what Game 2 will bring. I'm pretty sure that Vestberg will probably whip out the belt for that Game 1. And, you know, hopefully we will see some good stuff from Topaz. So we will just go into the short break before the draft for Game 2 to see if Hillerød will take the second or 2-0 over Topaz, or if Topaz takes us to Game 3.
Legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you play far reaching greatness, relentless, you survive. They never lose hope when everything's cold and the fighting's near. It's deep in their bones, they'll ride into smoke when the fire is fierce. No, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die when the world is calling you. Can you hear them screaming out your name? Legends never die, they become a part of you. Every time you bleed for reaching greatness, legends never die. They're written down in eternity, but you'll never see the price it costs. The scars collected all their lives. When everything's lost, they pick up their hearts and avenge defeat. Before it all starts, they suffer through harm just to tell us a dream. Oh, pick yourself up, 'cause legends never die when the world
Welcome to the world, no heroes and villains. Welcome to the war, we've only begun. So pick up your weapon and face it. There's blood on the ground, go and take it. You get one shot to make it out alive. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your bones, go and take it. This is your moment, now is your time. So prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Welcome to the climb up, reach for the summit. Visions brave, the one falls, steadily the end. So higher and higher you chase it. It's deep in your blood, go and take it. This is your moment. Take to the skies, go. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. It is you fight among the dead, beneath the dirt. Or do you know yet? Or do you want it? And when the giants call to ask you what you're worth, or do you know if we don't die? Prove yourself and rise, rise. Make them remember you. Push through heaven. Rise, rise. They will remember you. Prove yourself and rise, rise. Pick up your weapon and face it. Hold me close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways. And on we'll go. we'll go through the
Oh. Hello guys, we are back for the champion select of the game 2. That was pretty quick. Well, anyways, we already have 3 bans on the table. Alistar and Lucian taken away by Hillerød, and Topaz banned away by... Lissandra banned away by Topaz.
Yeah, so far Hillerød are just running back the same bans that they did in Game 1. They really played well, so I think that they'll be content with what they managed to get and what Topaz got. Topaz now reacting by taking Lissandra and Yasuo away. The Yasuo on Shim was really disgusting last game. He got super ahead and just managed to snowball the game so much that Topaz couldn't do anything. Lissandra, a really safe pick. Nonky played it well, killed Caeli a couple of times, and it just wasn't good from there on.
Yeah, the Hillerød third ban, I believe that was a Karthus. It's probably one of the pro draft bugs.exe. Topaz just taking away the Aurelia, so they actually played it last game, just deciding that they don't want to let Hillerød play this one. But Hillerød, they are just locking in the Karthus. They were content with how that pick went last game. Oh wait, well anyways, they locked themselves in the Karthus, I guess.
Okay, that is interesting, given that they were supposed to ban it. Now in the lobby there is some confusion, apparently.
I'm not surprised, I'm confused as well, but yeah, we'll just go with the draft whilst that gets resolved. A Camille for Topaz. So that was a ban last game.
Yeah, so Camille had been banned last game, now could be going top lane or also into the jungle. I believe that Mayhop has played it a couple of times in the Wintersplit, so could be going into the jungle. We'll see how it will affect the nerf to the attack speed, meaning that the clear should be relatively shorter. Okay, so I think it's confirmed that Karthus is supposed to be the third ban, so it's okay. Confusion is over. Topaz also locking themselves the Sivir, so once again, you know, going for a bit of a late game guarantee themselves.
Yeah, getting that late game on the Sivir will help them. You know, the key is not to fall behind like last game. Banning away the 2 picks will definitely help them at doing so. I'm though interested to see what Shim will pull out, and Aatrox will be locked in, which can be flexed to so many different lanes, so I'm going to abstain from trying to predict where it will go at this point.
Yeah, right now Hillerød are once again locking themselves a really flex team, is what I'm going to call it. Everything could be going everywhere. That Braum, you know, might technically be a funnel. I'm thinking, you know, could be. Topaz right now just going for the pure team fighting. You will have that Shen who can make cross-map plays seem like they're super easy and barely an inconvenience. So hopefully Topaz won't be getting caught out as much as they were in the first game, and rather actually go into the later stages of the game where they were still able to take over the game, but Hillerød were just that far ahead, and in the end they just managed to close it out.
Nocturne once again being banned. I am interested to see, was it because All Stars and Nocturne mid lane for Voxa, or there is probably a better reason for that. But yeah, as you said, Shen is a really nice champion for these cross-map plays. You just literally press a button and you're there. So, you know, will help them get some more early game should the situation go similarly to how it unfolded last time around. Thresh though banned away by Hillerød. They could be looking to target ban the supports, but that does then leave open the flex of Shen to the support position.
Yeah, and Shen could definitely be flexed into top lane and bot lane as well. It'll make sense putting him into the bot lane with that Sivir, given that he is a champion that is more focused on making sure that your AD carry survives rather than going for some big brick plays, you know. So yeah, would make sense. However, could be also in the top lane. Depends on where they decide to put Camille. Now, I myself have had Camille play against me at mid lane. She got absolutely destroyed, but it will be the Zoe for Facehurt. So that's always interesting.
Yeah, Facehurt has played this champion in the Wintersplit in his solo queue, so he's definitely not a new person to that. And yeah, it is very interesting, as you say, because right now in this mid lane, that is a lot of setup I can see with the Camille going in and the Sleepy Trouble Bubble to try and do the same thing that Hillerød did to Facehurt last game.
Oh, this is interesting because now you have that Tristana locked in, meaning that Hillerød wants to go for a bit more laid back, a bit more farm up and then just destroy your opponent playstyle. And Topaz, they have a relatively similar story. In both teams right now, you have that early game aggression on Hillerød in the form of Aatrox, Karthus, as well as Gragas, and in Topaz you have that Zoe and Camille, so this will be a really interesting game. However, it will depend also on what Topaz decide to lock last, if it will be something, something a bit more aggressive, or just laid back, making sure that they can survive and just go for the pure team fight. It will be the aggression, most likely, as they are hovering that Xin Zhao.
So Xin Zhao going into the jungle would put the Camille into the top lane most likely, and the Shen into the bot lane, but right now they actually are switching it into Fiora, which means that the Camille will be going into the jungle and Shen support. It's my guess, most probable scenario. So a lot of stuff to unpack right here, but from what I can see, both of these teams have late game elements once again, much like last game.
Yeah, and I also want to point out this Fiora. It is interesting because in one of the pre-shows we had Yizu on, and he mentioned, I'm not sure who they were playing against, but he mentioned that he was going to get his hands on a Fiora and that he was going to destroy his opponent. Now that didn't happen. The Fiora got banned out and he couldn't play it. Regardless, maybe he will want to make a statement this game, which is why I'm assuming that Caeli is in the bot lane and Yizu, in the top lane, unless there are some really crazy shenanigans with Fiora bot happening. But Topaz, they have a lot of possibilities to catch Hillerød out. They don't really have any pure engage. However, they have the Sleepy Trouble Bubble, they have the hook shot, and they have the they have Shen, who is an engage on his own. So if Hillerød aren't careful enough, they can fall prey to the early engages.
Oh, they definitely can. There is actually quite a decent pick potential on both of the teams. I agree that Topaz has a bit more of it, but so can Hillerød with the Aatrox, Braum, and the Gragas coming in with the Cask and that big body slam and just going into the members of Topaz. Although there's also a lot of denial with the spell shield, with the riposte. So this is a very interesting game. I think we should actually try and break it down matchup by matchup. So I'll actually start with the one that is confirmed 100%. The AD carries and the bot lane, because actually Sivir and Tristana has always been very interesting to me, because both of them are late game, but they have glaring differences in how they want to play these teamfights, with Tristana being more of a mobile AD carry that can just dish out the long range damage, and Sivir just having the ricochets as well as the long range damage. So how do you think that will develop this game?
Well, I think that the bot lane is going to be incredibly boring.
Well, 30 minutes, past 30 minutes.
Yes, past 30 minutes. It'll depend on how both these teams play their early game. However, it actually won't depend on the bot lane. Similar to how it was in that game 1. Depending on where Aatrox is, I am guessing top lane, however, could be flexed for Karthus as well. If one team gets super ahead over the other in other lanes compared to bot lane, that one will generally win the fight. However, every single team fight, if the game goes on long enough, like past 30 minutes or so, it should be about just blowing up that AD carry, and if you can blow up the big carry, you should be able to win the fight. So once again, just catching the enemies out, and both these teams can do that. Both of these teams can catch the hyper carry out. I'm sorry, my vocabulary is really slim. But yeah, it'll all depend on can the hyper carry survive, because in the late game, the pushing and just raw DPS of Sivir and Tristana will be relatively even.
One thing that I'm also looking at to be interesting is something that I didn't necessarily get a lot of in game 1. It was the junglers, which I hope to make for both of them to make a lot of ganks and both of them trying to snowball. Well, it ended up being the Hidden Shadow show on that Xin Zhao, who just snowballed everyone, and Mayhoff kind of trying to make something happen on the Poppy, but in the end was too far behind to do anything. Well, right now Mayhoff is on a Camille, a champion that he has played pretty well in the Wintersplit so far. I would assume that a Hidden Shadow would be on the Gragas. Let me actually just confirm that.
Yes,
yes, he is sitting on a Gragas. So both of the junglers have really nice self setup, especially post level 6. So where do you think we could expect them to make their marks?
Well, it'll depend on whether Hidden Shadow decides to go full AP or full tank. We see that Nonki has picked up Karthus for the top lane, so most likely Gragas will be roaming around the mid lane a lot, just because you will have that Zoe who has no mobility. I'm not counting in her teleport because, you know, she sort of gets back to her original position, so that possibility of snowballing this Aatrox is real for Hillerød and will be a threat for Topaz. So if Mayhoff cannot shut him down, you will be facing with a really fat Aatrox, and we've seen what that can do, how such horror that it can unleash. However, for Topaz, you can also see Camille running around top lane, trying to snowball Yuzu on that Fiora. So mid lane and top lane, again, these lanes with the solo laners will affect the outcome of the series. Oh, well, the game. Possibly the series.
Yeah, it could very well be the series if Hillerød will be the ones on the positive side of that outcome, early game, whatever you call it. Well, with that, we will go into just a very short break as we wait for the spectator delay. Not too much we can do about that one, so we will see you in just a few minutes, and don't go anywhere.
Run a quick analysis. Hey Pearl, run a diagnostic. Target acquired. Cannons primed. Scanning for real threats. None detected. None detected.
Pulsar systems online.
Let's do this. Nope, turning back now.
Systems offline. Recharging. Systems upgraded. Power near full capacity. Pulsar cannon at maximum power. Pulsar upgrades complete.
Sounds apocalyptic. I'm in. I'm centuries ahead of them. I'll make my own future.
All systems fully charged.
systems charged. Time for a true display.
Tell me where do I go? Tell me where do I take us? Your heart is starting to slow. May the water be safe. As I dive in, bloodstains washing underneath the waves. I'll be reaching out to keep you safe. As we fall, I can't hold on much longer. We're drifting down to the other side. Try to pull us under.
Hello and welcome everyone. We are back in the game, but the game is immediately post top toilet. Yes, I'm Kachka, joined by Kerem, and you know we're going to enjoy that one. All right. So Kerem apparently has some issues. That's great. So I will take it by myself until our Czech boy can realize what the issue is right now. So just to say the reason is, and I quote the chat, top lane WC. I don't think it really requires any more explanation. The game loaded a bit faster than we expected, and therefore someone might not have come back from what they need to do, but cannot stop it. Anyways,
Hi.
yay!
My
we're
microphone
back.
once again decided to just absolutely crap its pants. Apparently, because that's what happens every single stream apparently. Regardless, once again, hi, I'm Karen. I'm the man without the functioning microphone.
Good. Well, I mean, at least you have a proper mic. I'm still using a headset one. Oof.
Fair, you know what? Headsets are great just because you can move with them everywhere.
Well, it can't contain me when I'm actually shouting.
It can't. I mean, how
But, yeah.
come? How come it can't contain you?
Well, I mean, anyways, coming back into the game.
Okay, fair.
I
You're
don't have
fair.
evidence for that. So we talked a bit, I mean, quite a lot about how the side lanes will decide that, and it is for the majority of the game. I mean, for majority of the part, it will probably be the way this game plays out. However, one thing that I am looking at is the Tristana and Braum. At level 6, they have a really big power spike in the bot lane that, if utilized correctly, will nearly always get you at least a kill.
Yeah, if they manage to play around that level 6 well enough, possibly coordinate with the Gragas as well, to get a really good gank in, there is the possibility of them getting themselves ahead, even though in this case it wouldn't really be getting themselves ahead as much as putting Topaz behind, just because you want your hyper carry, of course, to be better off than the other one if going for these mid-game skirmishes, but also late-game team fights, so that will be an important factor to all zone in on. However, once again, you mentioned the side lanes. That is going to be where the most of the early game action is going to lie, and this Fiora can really make something happen against this Karthus. However, she should be just bullied out of the lane super hard.
Yeah, that is something that I guess you can always expect from a melee versus ranged matchup, especially when it's a Fiora that needs usually more items to really come online. You usually see these kind of champions just, you know, falling behind in lane, then getting to those 2 items and taking over the side lane. It's a long road to that, so wouldn't be surprised to see that. Both of the junglers are starting on the red buff. That means that Mayhoff could be, you know, looking for some early gank top lane or mid lane from that top side, or conversely he could be looking for the first gank bot. On the other hand, that does mean that Knudsen and Taber will come into the lane slightly later than Caeli and Selfway, which, you know, I guess the bot lane is the boring lane, as you called it, but could maybe result in something.
And Mayhoff already is roaming around the top lane. He does have a good level 2 game with that hookshot on Camille, so he can definitely make something happen as soon as, as early as 3 minutes in. You know, he'll just be bullying the crab for a bit. I never understood how you can gain gold from, you know, killing a little crab, but regardless, nothing will really happen.
Think about how much gold minions are carrying, because, you know, whenever they die, they drop some gold, and then, you know, you stack it up after just a few minutes, and it's suddenly like you're rich.
Yeah, you're basically like bullying the kids with money for lunch, essentially.
Yeah. What if actually the minions don't die? What if they just give you their lunch money and they go away?
They just disappear into the oblivion.
Yes.
That'd be actually a good lore, honestly.
Well, I think it's pretty good, and everyone watching this can probably agree that we are not the people in charge of the lore of League of Legends.
Aww, come on.
Yeah. No, I think it's for the general good. Selfie and Cal were actually trying to get the Scalar away from Hidden Shadow. Will not quite succeed in that, I guess. 3 versus 2 will never quite go in your favor. But both of these junglers are setting up the vertical jungling. Mayhoff taking the top side of the jungle, and Hidden Shadow will take the bot side of the jungle.
Yeah, right now just really a gentleman's call. Now Mayhoff is in that top lane. Nunkey is a bit pushed up. He does have a big minion wave on his side though, so any fight could still be turned around. It looks like he will be passing towards that bush.
Oh, Mayhoff is going into the top lane with the hookshot. Does find the stand on to Nonkey. Nonkey still has the flash available. Will use it. Jizu has to burn his as well, and flash from Mayhoff. Well played by Nonkey, forcing 2 summoners only for 1.
Yeah, really well played from Nonkey. That was a lethal gank from Mayhoff. However, turns out that it wasn't as lethal as Mayhoff first anticipated it to be, just because, you know, he didn't kill anyone, and that's the definition of lethal. However, forcing out that flash from Camille will mean that her hookshots will be a bit more predictable whenever she comes to gank.
Face her now in the mid lane. That's a nice flash. Juba, the summoner forced by Hidden Shadow, means that it is very much return gankable.
It is return gankable, especially.
That is now my coin flip term.
Okay, I have gankable. Sorry, I have comebackable, and you have better return gankable. Now, this is the story of every single time when you manage to force out a summoner from a mage who is relatively immobile, and that is the same story with Zoe. So, if the Gragas decides to come around, you know, just say pay a nice little visit, he still has that flash up, so any further gank should be really just a formality to set up a kill, given that you have so much damage this early game with that Aatrox.
We apparently have more damage in the early game, but I see a significant decrease in action. Come on, it's 5 minutes, no kills yet, and I do understand that you've got hyper carries in the bot side, but both of these junglers aren't really able to find any ganks. We saw Mayhoff trying the top lane, but, you know, not really succeeding in getting the kill.
Yeah, and so far the advantages have been really shown just in the number of flashes that every team has. Hillerød have flashes up on Aatrox and Gragas, and the mid laner, jungler, and top laner of Topaz don't. So, you know, that goes to show the dominance of Hillerød and how they have played the game, at least until the 6th minute so far.
Yeah, this game does feel much slower. It is weird to say that at 6 minutes nothing is happening when you take into account what actually went down last time around, and, you know, not really surprised because this time we have hypercarries and of mages in the bot lane, but you already see Knudsen and Tauber pushing in Cal and Selfoy, but now in the mid lane, Facer has got level 6, is going to get ignited down, knocked up, and first blood secured by Shim.
And nothing that he could have really done there. He is Zoe without the flash, so Hidden Shadow once again just proving that it was a formality. He will look to take at least one plate, get himself some nice little gold to buy even more alcohol with. I feel like that's his lore, right? Like Gragas literally does this. Yeah, he just does this to buy vodka or beer. I think that's what he drinks.
Or maybe it's some, you know, Runeterran special alcohol beverage that we have never heard of.
Yeah, I feel like that's the story with every single lore item. like if you don't know what to call it, just it's a special rune Terran thing that doesn't exist in our real world. Now, the teleport has been burnt from Yizu to get back into lane, so at least at least Hillerød won't have to think about that gank option for now.
Facert is going to get knocked up by one of the Darkin Blades, but a nice sleepy travel bubble will mean that Hidden Shadow cannot reliably follow up with a gank, and Facert will just get away from some potential trouble.
And right now Facert is at least asserting his dominance, chasing Hidden Shadow away from that ward. Oh well, after, you know, Hidden Shadow managed to take it. But Hidden Shadow, so far, that was a lot of shadows by the way, so far...
Oh, that is a knockup on the Facert, and here comes the body slam flash, and the Shim gets himself yet another kill.
And this is the very same story as it was last time around, except with different champions. The last time around you saw Shim getting pretty much babysat by his lovely friend Hidden Shadow and just destroying Facert because he couldn't get his options open.
Mayhop is trying to now get the kill onto that Aatrox. No wall lander is available, the Requiem is coming down! And Shim, oh, he will burn down with the red buff, but he does manage to get the kill and, you know, just barely doesn't make it out.
It looked like a clean getaway from Shim, but alas, he just blinked away and then blinked into the oblivion. So, one kill going into the pockets of Mayhoff, the first kill of the game for Topaz, but they're already at a deficit in terms of gold. So, once again, Hillerød are just playing around this early game in such a more superior way than Topaz, which might lead to their downfall once again.
Yeah, Hidden Shadow is in the top lane. Jizu does use the flash. The cask, oh, will not bring him back in. Hidden Shadow is actually running very low. 300 HP, 200, just above 100 right now. Can Jizu find the kill? Yes, he will. He does actually pop the grand challenge. Noki is forced now to flash away. Jizu doesn't have the flash available, but the slow from the red buff is doing work. And Jizu with the double kill in the top lane.
Jizu, you absolute madman. He mentioned that Fiora is a really strong pick for him, and he just showed it. Noki, he couldn't do anything, he just had to auto-attack, and as a mage, you know, that doesn't deal that much damage. A really good turnaround. Even though he paid with his life for it, he could have just gone out with one kill, but no, he said that he wants to snowball himself even further, and he wants to be going for the Black Cleaver as soon as he can. Or the Triforce, depending on, you know, what he wants to go for.
Yeah, most likely the Triforce Black Cleaver, I guess, could be the option. However, you know, Gragas going for the Runic Echoes, not too much tankiness to cut through. Caeli is actually out of mana and he's still trying to train the bot side, but, you know, coming back to that top lane, these two kills all put Jizu in a very comfortable spot for a Fiora. Sitting at 10 minutes on Tiamat and the Phage is definitely better than you could expect, even in a, you know, being neutral in gold. He is sitting at 700 or more like 600 gold lead over Noki, which, you know, is good considering that we were predicting him to fall behind.
And this is something that you desperately need to do. If you're Topaz right now, you won't have a winning bot lane. You now have a losing mid lane. Yes, a losing mid lane, sorry. So it is important that they have at least one lane where they can get stuff done with a snowballing champion like the Fiora, but now Noki might have a bit too many guys around. No, okay, the Facered may have just decided to turn around, apparently.
Well, Mayhoff is still trying to capitalize on that Karthus, you know. Karthus being an accidental pro draft pick means that he is vulnerable to ganks, and here comes the Camille! And a quick secure, even with the stand united. Mayhoff is the one to get the kill in the end. However, Hillerød well traded for the dragon.
And good on Hillerød that they decided to go for an objective as well. However, a really clean dive from Topaz. There was nothing that Noki could have done there. He has no mobility. He didn't have that much health. You know, it is still a mage, so when you have this amount of hard CC on you and you cannot move and you have this fat Fiora against you, it's really difficult to do stuff. And now Topaz will just be getting a couple of plates. They'll be happy with how they're starting to snowball their top laner and jungler.
Yeah, Mayhoff just tried to maybe go for the third plating, will not get it in the end. Hidden Shadow is up there in the top lane, so they have to disengage. The Gragas will not go for it. Meanwhile though, Knudsen in the bot lane is quietly farming up. He still isn't sitting on that Storm Laser much like Caeli, but he is pushing the turret. It is just the last plating left. And this Tristana will be very strong once Knudsen comes as we go. Meanwhile, the cast puts Facer into Knudsen, forces the flash immediately. That could have been so much bigger was the flash not available for Facer, but you know, ended up being another Summoner forced.
Yeah, and that is just... There is just such a big difference between ganking a Zoe with a flash and ganking a Zoe without one. Remember, when she got ganked when she didn't have a flash, she got absolutely bursted. Now Mayhoff is in a bit of a particular situation, and that is a lot of damage coming from that cask.
It definitely is. Hidden Shadow has the runic echoes, which means that the additional proc will contribute towards that damage. And you know, Camille, MR is not necessarily something you build early on into the game. I guess you could go for the Mercurial Treads, but doesn't go for it. I mean, getting Tiamat is obviously more important, and that does mean that a lot of damage will be traded. Overall, however, Hillerød, they are still ahead by 1.5k gold, even though we keep focusing on how well Jisoo is doing.
Yeah, and something that you see in the bot lane, you mentioned that Stormers are being picked up by Sivir. However, Knudsen actually has more CS than Sivir, and he may just get run down.
Yeah, Knudsen is running very low. The Unbreakable tries to make something happen, but Shim comes in the World Ender. Does not find it. Flash forward for the Tristana and secures the kill.
And that was such a good bait from Knudsen. He was so low, and Cal just thought, maybe, hey, I'm gonna get this kill. He's alone, but alas, from behind the wall, Tauber, his strongest muscle of heart, just comes in, knocks him off with the Glacial Fissure, and there was nothing that Cal nor Selfway could have done there, even though Mayhoff was sitting just around the corner.
Yeah, now the taunt coming in onto Knudsen's Tristana. He has got no flash. He will get shut down. Does not even get the turret in the end. Mayhoff will find a slow to Tauber with the tactical sweep, but no follow-up will be coming in.
And right now...
Oh,
okay.
Top lane, I mean, there is actually on top side and bot side. Donkey flash down under turret. Facer comes in for the kill. Bot side, Mayhoff. That's going to do the Hextech ultimate, but Hidden Shadow ultimately will get the kill.
Yeah, and a bit overeager from Tristana over in the bot lane, making sure that, you know, he wanted to take the tower, but in the end, it will be the first turret taken from mid lane for the side of Hillerød.
Has no spell shield. The body slam lands onto him, but Hidden Shadow is low. Not enough as Shin comes in with the Darking Blade to pick up the kill.
And once again, Hillerød are just finding these opportunities and these picks, and they are already 3,000 gold ahead of their opponents. And once again, in the first one, they needed to snowball. Now, Jisoo is...
Jisoo is dead. Knudsen comes in, picks up yet another kill, and Hillerød, they are looking to do not a repeat of game 1, but a very, very similar story.
Yeah, in the first one, they desperately needed to snowball, and they snowballed. In this one, they don't necessarily have to. Yet they are also getting that bonus in. They will now have that late game secured with the Tristana, and they may just look to take the game out early, even before Tristana really comes online, similarly to how we saw in the first one. So once again, just really a dominant performance from them.
The Herald now will be the focus for the side of Hillerød. And if they manage to get that, if they manage to break down some powers, they will be in a very, very good spot. Jisoo still has to complete his trifles. It won't be long. He is sitting on all of the components, but if you look at the other items, you already have Luden's Echo completed on Nonki. You have the Yumus goes with it, as well as the Phage for the Shim. Knudsen is working towards his second item, and Hidden Shadow just got an Oblivion Ode as well as the Sorcery Boots. Hillerød just have so much damage compared to Topaz, and are just that much stronger as the dragon, which is the mountain run, will spawn.
At this point, Hillerød can just run Topaz down. Nonki has already moved out of that top lane where he was just getting repeatedly ganked over and over and over again. Now, will there be a steal?
Well, it will not be, as Mayhoff will be successfully zoned away from the pit, but Facer tries to go into the pit. Tauber will get taken down in the end, and Topaz, they are getting 3 kills already, a double kill from Jisoo. The Requiem will look to pick up some return kills, ends up only getting Mayhoff.
And a
And
good,
overall, a 3-for-1 in favor of Topaz.
and a good couple of return kills from Topaz. However, Hillerød will transfer this lead into a top turret. Knudsen may get taken out in the mid lane, however, he should just be able to take out these minions.
Talking about top lane though, Shim and Jizu, they are playing a 1v1. However, here comes the Stun United to make that a 2 versus 1. The Shadow Dash gets dethroned onto Shim immediately. He has got the flash, he does not manage to juke the Topaz thanks to the Ignite, and Selfie gets the kill.
A bit of an unfortunate event that he did get ignited and he did have that vision on himself, but Topaz trying to climb back up into their seat, trying to, you know, get themselves back up on that high horse, and so far they are achieving that. They have taken that second turret in the bot lane as well as in the top lane, and this game is far from over for them. If the game stalls out for long enough, it will just be this, the fight of the strongest hyper carries, in which we actually haven't seen either of these teams dominate over one another. So that is also going to be something that Hillerød will have to be scared of if they don't manage to close this game out super early.
They are set up though to do just that. The Baron will be spawning in 2 minutes. They have 2 mountain dragons. They also have the Herald in their inventories, and they are still ahead. Yes, we just saw Topaz take a fight, and this is what Topaz can do if Hillerød are not careful enough. But they have got the tools, and you know, after last game, you have to believe that Hillerød will be trying to close this game out.
And most certainly, given that in the first one, it was pretty much a stomp. It wasn't super clean. There were some mistakes on their part, however. In the second one, they don't have the team composition for it, and which is why we haven't seen too many objective leads be built up. However, even as little, I put it in quotation marks, but even as little as all these outer turrets being taken by this team this early on, it just tells you a lot about the individual style of these players. They love to play aggressive.
Yeah, well, look at the bot lane. Jizu has got the Triforce already, and that is so much damage. He finds the solo kill onto Nonki, and I dare say Fiora is now truly online in the side lane.
And Nonki did have access to his Requiem, but I suppose that he thought that he wasn't going to be able to kill Jizu with it.
Mayhop in the bot side river, it looks to get caught at 1 versus 2, but here comes Stun United, and Selfie joins the fray. Knudsen comes in for the kill, goes out, but a 1-for-1 trade in the end. Jizu over the wall will not follow up, decides he's too low on the HP.
And
So overall, a 1-for-1.
Yeah, so far this game hasn't been as dominant from Hillerød. Mostly it's just been trades. However, Hillerød they just always seem to come out on top in just achieving that little bit more pressure around the map.
At the mid lane, Shim is going in with the wall, and a flash away already from Cal. Nice spell shield from the Wintersplit, but there's just too much CC, and Shim gets his 4th kill of the game.
Yeah, you cannot run away from Shim with that Ghost Blade and also the movement speed from World Ender. So it was just really difficult for him to really get anything done there.
And that will allow Hillerød to just sweep out this vision, take control of this Baron pit, and get themselves a 2.5k gold advantage. And also, once again, coming back to these items, Shim and Knudsen are both sitting on 2, and their counterparts are sitting on 1, and in case of Face Hurt, just an amplifying tome. And Cal is slightly closer to the second item, but that is still a very clear disparity when it comes to actual fight damage.
Yeah, especially in these hyper carries. Knudsen will be sitting on... He will be way... sorry, I really can't talk today. He will be much better off than Caeli, given that he is still sitting on just a Stormrazor. He can't really do anything with his 0-3 score. Now just trying to fight for that vision around the Baron pit. Pacer won't actually be able to shoot them out with his sparks, as Shim will just, you know, bully him away.
Ooh, Shim fancied his chances to get that red buff. Right now, however, I feel like the game will go into more or less of a stall, as Hillerød they will be looking to try and get the right opportunity for the Baron, but with Jizu on the side lane, sitting on the Triforce, working his way towards what I believe will be the Ravenous Hydra, I think. He will be very, very strong, and there will not really be anyone, I mean, definitely not Nonki, that will be able to match him down there.
And however, all these fights, these 1v1s between Nonky and Yizu have been surprisingly even. There was always that Yizu almost fell, but in the end Nonky couldn't get that kill in at the final second, so, you know, Yizu is currently the dominant top laner, and most of these fights that Hillerød have won have been without Yizu's participation, so it'll be interesting to see how his presence will actually determine the outcome of every single fight, as Hillerød right now are really careful about this vision, as they just don't, what's the term? Face check, that's the term. As they don't take their chances to face check any of those bushes around the Baron pit.
Yeah, Cal will just try and throw out some of the boomerang blades, and you know, you asked the question if the Jisoo's presence in the team fights will change anything. Well, my question is, will Jisoo be in the team fights? Because if Topaz play it right, they might not even need to team fight if Jisoo can put down sufficient pressure down in the spot lane.
And he does have that teleport up. It will be coming online any second, however the Baron has been started.
Yes,
And they do have knowledge of it though.
Yeah, the Baron is spotted. Omehov is sitting behind the pit, has got the smite, has got the flash, goes into the pit and does not steal it. He will secure themselves the Baron to get one kill already. It will be traded back. We got Knudsen in the backline, he's dishing out the damage untouched. Selfway will drop down. Yet another kill going in favor of Hillerød. Pacer goes down as well, a quadra kill for Knudsen. And here will get the Baron, they get the ace. And they will be looking to get the base of Topaz.
That is just such a big play from Hillerød, managing to get that full ace as well as a Baron buff will mean that the inhibitors now are on the line, they should fall. And as the minion wave just comes around, Talbot won't even have to tank the turret hits, and really just well played from Hillerød. They were once again ahead, and apparently Yisu cannot do too terrifyingly much alone in that team fight.
Yeah, even though he got one kill, he tried to do his best. Fiora in the team fights, you know, it really sucks if you are in the position where you actually have to team fight as a Fiora, but that is what Hillerød are doing. They are forcing Topaz to make these not optimal decisions. They would much rather have that Fiora just split push in the side lane. They cannot, and this leads Hillerød to further their goalie to 8,000, get the Baron, get the mid lane inhib, and they might be even looking to close this game out faster than the previous one.
Yeah, and in the first one there was that, I'm not going to say indifference, however, a bit more struggling from Hillerød with just closing out the game in general. Now in the second one, they get a Baron at 25 minutes in thanks to that Tristana and those two Mountain Drakes. And right now, it just seems even faster for Hillerød than in the first one. Tristana is sitting on those 3 items, so while this isn't her peak fighting ability, she will be dealing a lot of damage in those team fights, as we saw in the one around the Baron pit. And Topaz right now, they are scared. They don't want to really fight, but they will be forced to just because of this Baron buff.
Talking about a lot of damage, Shim actually has got that made of Drakthar on this Aatrox. He will be absolutely demolishing the health bars. The only real armor there is, I guess you have the Nice Ball on Selfway and the Ninja Tabai on Jisoo, but there isn't really anything else I can see. And with the Baron buff, Hillerød will be looking to siege down the bot lane inhibitor turret.
And however, these sleepy trouble bubbles are currently keeping Topaz alive. Yisu is pushing down on that topside turret, and Zoe right now is the only factor that is keeping Topaz afloat. They won't be able to find that top turret just yet. Minions might find it in the end. However, Facer really just making sure that his team stays in this game for that much longer.
Yeah, the turret unfortunately will not go down since the Baron empowered recalls from Hillerød will make sure they go back into the base faster. In the end, the Baron will be running out in about 10-15 seconds, I don't know, a short time. So it's actually fairly good for Topaz that they lost only one inhibitor and no inhibitor towers. This means that, well, because it's the mid lane, it's the easiest one to access, so it shouldn't be that detrimental, but still, they need to find their picks if they want to come back into this game.
And right now, Hillerød, all they want to do is find a pick. We saw that during a siege, they don't have the superior range just because you have the Zoe who outranges everyone on their team. So every single siege will be that much more drawn out as long as FaZe Herd lives. So pushing through that mid lane and pressuring more of the objectives at the same time is currently the name of the game for Hillerød, or just, you know, going for a pure team fight and running it down mid.
Yeah, both of these teams actually really want to get picks. You said it, Hillerød want to get picked to siege faster. Topaz need to get a pick since they probably won't win 5v5 fights against that Tristana. When you look at Caeli, he's only now working towards his Infinity Edge. So the question is, who will be the first person to get caught out? By the way, I don't expect you to actually answer this.
It's okay, yeah, I can see rhetorical questions. It'll all fall down upon the shoulders of FaZe Herd as he has been doing it so far. Once again, catching out so many people, making sure that Hillerød cannot force those fights. If he manages to catch Tristana out early in the first stages of the fight, and Yizu can swoop in to actually get his damage done before being blown up by the lineup of Hillerød, they'll be happy campers. But to do that, once again, they need a good engage. And if Hillerød play around their composition well enough, and if they position well enough, that should be a no-brainer for them.
And, you know, it has been a while since the timers on the objectives have been changed, but the Baron is spawning in 1 minute and the inhibitor is still down. It really does hurt you when you lose these inhibitors on these Baron buffs, because yours one is just going to respawn about the same time or even after the Baron spawns, which means that Hillerød will have a much easier setup. Right now, Selfway, he will just dash over the wall to safety. It could have been much more dangerous should he be in a much worse position. And Hillerød, they are just looking for that Baron setup to make it the final one of the game and finally close this series out.
And speaking of the Baron, I said it when the first one went down, however you do have these 2 Mountain Drakes, so that Baron will just melt like butter. And if Topaz aren't careful enough, if they don't manage to secure any vision around this Baron pit like they don't have for now, there is just no way that they can disrupt Hillerød actually starting it.
Nonky flashes down under his own tower. Jizu in the bot. Can he find the kill? He flashes under Nonky. And no, Nonky stays alive. Jizu is now dead. A 4 versus 5 in favor of Hillerød. That is a 50-second death timer. And this could be game-breaking for Topaz.
And this is just such an influential pick right now. It wasn't even started by Nonky. Yizu went in himself, he got overeager, and that will just mean a free Baron for Hillerød once again. Inhibitor has respawn in the mid lane. However, how long can they hold on? We will have to see. Can FaZe Herd just keep them at bay for so much longer? The minion waves will crash on top lane and mid lane. Luckily not in bot lane. So, you know, that's always the silver lining. But Yizu, 12 more seconds before he gets up.
And Jizu still on a 10-second death timer. The mid lane inhibitor will be taken out pretty much immediately as soon as Hillerød got their hands on the Baron buff. That's a nice chunk of damage onto Hidden Shadow. But is it really enough, as the top lane turret, inhibitor turret, is now under the siege? And looks like Topaz will be able to push back Hillerød for the time being.
That is just so much damage coming from the paddling stars, from Zoe. Hidden Shadow doesn't have any magic resist, so he just gets blown up immediately. The same goes for any other member on the lineup of Hillerød. They don't have anything against Zoe right now. You have some magic resist on Braum, but every single member gets blown up, and that is why FaZe Herd is such an incredible cog in the wheel of Topaz right now. They need to keep him alive. If they don't, it is just pure GG from them.
Another thing though that is going well is Caeli slowly getting to his items. For now, yes, FaZe Herd is the most important first person for Topaz. Give a bit more time and this Sivir will start doing work. Caeli will slowly get to a point where he can just wave clear waves with one W, or at least very easy, maybe not actually with just one W. And you know, the split push of Fiora is building up, and even though Jizu got solo killed on a greedy dive, if I can call it,
definitely, yeah, I agree with you.
He will get stronger compared to Nonky, but I think it will not the strength as the game actually progresses in that side lane will not actually matter that much, and it will mostly be the plays that both of these top laners are making.
And the most important thing for Topaz right now is that Hillerød aren't actually getting too many of these advantages. That is a lot of damage coming down upon him.
It very much is. Zonias has just been blown, I believe, by the Shadow. Well, it doesn't matter for now in the fight. I guess if he dies, then it will. But here, what they are looking strong, they still have got the Baron buff. And the bot lane inherited that will be the siege. And Caeli gets bursted down. Hidden Shadow finding the big Mayhoff will also be taken out. The Requiem spells the end for Topaz as 4 members are taken down. Jizu desperately in the backline trying to find Donkey, but there's nothing he can find. It's a clean ace for Hillerød. They will take the second inhib. The Baron is still on their side. They are looking for the next start. And Hillerød, yet another time, will 2-0 Topaz.
And that is just... that is a perfect way to cap off the game. Caeli just getting blown up and Hillerød immediately following through, cleaning Topaz up and getting themselves a really convincing 2-0 victory, more so than that CSD match. So I would say that Hillerød, they really are in their element, and Topaz, they may have fallen out of grace in an unknown period of time.
Topaz definitely have struggled with things, especially actually getting the ball rolling in the early game or finding any successful punishes, and Hillerød just used it to their advantage. They were the ones finding the early game plays. They were the ones punishing the smallest mistakes. I don't think the consequences of that failed tower dive by Jizu in bot lane can be overstated, because it pretty much spelled the end from that point. There was very little Topaz could do. It was mostly relying on Hillerød throwing the game, and it just didn't happen, and Hillerød got the 2-0 in the end.
They really did just play to their strengths, to their advantages, and they just showed that today they were the better team. Now, I also want to mention, we said that in Topaz it was all about Facehurt and he did have the highest damage, but on the side of Hillerød, it was actually Nonki who dealt the most damage of the game, and together with Knudsen, of course. However, Nonki, a bit underappreciated. He did get camped in that top lane, and yet somehow he prevailed and just dealt so much damage that Topaz couldn't deal with it. So props to both of them. And let's just hope that we'll get a bit more even matchup next week in the CSD playoffs, if they face up against each other.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see, you know. Talking about what this means for both of the teams. By the way, guys, you have the MVP links in the chat right now, so vote. We will revisit that in just a few minutes. Coming back to my point, because I apparently can't go from one point to another without distracting myself. You know, Topaz, they are playing tomorrow and on Tuesday. They have 2 more matches in the Wintersplit. And even though they aren't in any danger of falling into relegation or anything like that, they really want to be picking up these wins, especially that if Topaz falter against Lyra tomorrow, it can give Lyra the springboard they need to avoid their relegation matches.
Yeah, I believe that Lyra need to... I'm not sure if it is actually a 2-0 or they just need 1 game away from Topaz.
So they need to win at least 1 game, and they need to be 1 point better than Hydra's Esport against Hydra, which will be streamed on Tuesday, which I'm gonna love the names. But yeah, basically... Lyra needs to win at least 1 game, and if they need to win 1 game, then they need to make sure that Hydra's Esport loses 0-2 against Hydra. So it's pretty complex, but you know, with I'm actually looking forward to seeing if Topaz will be able to get back after that, or if Lyra can actually sneak that win tomorrow.
Yeah, so today definitely was the match of honor. It was a big rivalry, and just seeing Hillerød take such a convincing win in the form of 2-0, it just tells you a lot about the teams. I feel like Hillerød have slowly been climbing up to be the, I'm going to say, strongest team in the Wintersplit, together with Topaz. There is that narrative about the week 1 being a fluke, and so far they have just been undefeated since then. So Hillerød have really benefited from the preseason changes and just being able to adapt to their story, to their playstyle so much, and really just showed today So I feel like Hillerød, they are a serious contender going into the second half of the split.
They definitely are, you know, to say the least. I don't think there is too much more to say about that point. Hillerød, after that 0-2 defeat in week 1, they only lost 2 games, not matches, just singular games in week 6 and 7 against Jaco and Caeli respectively, which, you know, both of them were pretty surprising to see. So yeah, Hillerød definitely one of the top teams. And yeah, guys, don't forget to vote. One thing though that I want to revisit, it's not necessarily Wintersplit related. However, on, you know, next Saturday, it will be the CSD playoffs, and we will be casting that. We won't be casting the Hillerød versus GGE series. We will be casting the Serenity game versus Copenhagen Flames Academy, and then the finals as well. So, you know, getting that win before the important match in CSD will boost Hillerød a lot.
It will really boost and just bolster their morale, really. Especially, as you said, coming into such an important matchup where they can go into the LCD, which is pretty much the highest league for us, at least right now. It goes right into the Nordics League and then into EU Masters, and you know the drill from that point on. So a really important matchup, and going into that with a good morale is going to be really beneficial for them, because you want to be confident in what you're doing in such important fights. And yeah, Hillerød will be really happy with what they managed to accomplish here today in their final game of this first half of the Wintersplit. It's really crazy that it's just ending so abruptly.
It is, and taking a quick look at the MVP votes for now, people seem to actually be voting for Hillerød more than for Topaz. Guys, you are allowed to vote for each team, it doesn't only have to be the winning team. There is a tie between Knudsen and Shim, 5 votes each, and then Tauber getting in 1 point. Why not Nonki, guys? Come on, he was playing really well. But yeah, I'm not going to lie, this is a hard vote, since in a game like this, and I probably will say it every single time, it is just nearly impossible to pick the one player that really stood out. But yeah, Knudsen on the Tristana, definitely that quadra kill, I would agree. Shim game 1 Yasuo, 10 out of 10, would also agree. And yeah, anything to add from yourself on that?
Well, for myself, again, the Hillerød, they have such a playstyle where it is difficult to pick out one individual player, just because every single player can carry and can, you know, get really good plays, and so you never know what you're gonna get from Hillerød. However, Topaz, they did put up a fight Selfway in the end, getting the 3 votes. I know it sounds a bit sad, but regardless, he did have a lot of good picks in the first one on that Thresh, making sure that they at least stayed afloat in the first game, so good on them. And what else? Do we do our sellout now?
Yeah, I mean, these are the guys you thought that deserve the MVP, and this is actually it from us. So don't forget to follow us here on the Twitch, on YouTube as well, subscribe to us, and on Twitter. You can also join our Discord, just click the icon below the stream and join our community. You know, you can play with some good people, or me and Karim, which I wouldn't describe as good by any means, but you know.
Come on, that's a bit rude.
Well, anyways, so yeah, you can also follow us on Facebook, I guess, and we have Battlefight tournaments if you are interested in that, and we will be also streaming tomorrow, so do not forget to tune in, and we'll wish you good night. Kachka and Karim, we were the casters today.